And welcome back to the Engage 8 podcast on this Thursday night. Here, joined always by Robby, Elliott. Robby, how's it going?
Good, man. How are we doing?
Pretty good. A little tired, but we just gotta power through it. It is
Yeah,
like
bro.
10 o'clock, but we always do our recordings like around this time
Yeah.
anyway. So we're actually supposed to start like 30 minutes
30
ago.
minutes ago, but we're all right. Whatever.
Robby's never on time. So
No.
all right, let's jump right into the swing of things. Big noon matchup, going to be called by Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt. Penn State versus Ohio State. Robby, what do you think of this game? What is your breakdown of this game?
I think this is going to be one of the weirdest top 10 matchups that we see all season, and that's just because you look at two teams like this and you look back in their past and you're like, oh, this is explosive football teams, man. These are teams that have held guys like Saquon Barkley, Zeke Elliott, just all the receivers that Ohio State's had, all the receivers that Penn State's had. But that's not the case anymore. These are two teams actually with less high-powered offenses than they've had probably in the last, I'd say, decade for Ohio State and about the last 5 to 7 years for Penn State. And which means the story is 1,000% going to be told on the defensive side of the ball. I think secondary-wise, Penn State's got one of the better secondaries in the country, led by Kalen King. And their linebackers are playing really, really well, too. They're getting a lot of tackles. They're flying to the football, but I think they do struggle a little bit in coverage. However, Ohio State somehow, some way has resurrected out of the dead, and they have a defense now. They got a darn good secondary. Their pass rush, isn't getting home as much. And I've kind of
They did get home a lot more against Purdue, which say what you want about Purdue, but
say what you want about anyone. Getting home is it's a tall task, man.
Right.
Getting those sacks and putting pressure to ultimately lift up your secondary helps. I think more and more I watch film with both of these teams and listen to other people's opinions. I think the main thing that's going to be looked at the most and is going to win the game for either side. I do think Ohio State's going to come out to win because, dude, it's so hard to walk into the shoe and win. It's just super hard. And I feel like this team, I'm not saying I'm buying into what Ryan Day is saying, but there's a little bit of a chip. It's going to be one on the line of scrimmage. What offensive line is not going to prevail? Because both these teams have very poor offensive lines, especially for, I would say the expectation. I think that's the right word.
Yeah, I mean, you expect that Penn State line with Fashanu or whatever the kid's name is.
Yeah, Fashanu. Yeah,
like he's supposed to be the leader, and that's just supposed to be a really good offensive line. Ohio State, they were looking for two kids in the portal at tackle. You kind of feel like their offensive line was going to regress after Johnson and what's the other kid's name that I can't think of that time.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Johnson and not Jones.
Oh. Yeah, I know the name.
I don't know why I'm struggling with this right now. Maybe it is. Is it DeJuan Jones?
It could be. I
don't know. Yeah, because DeJuan Jones and Paris Johnson Jr. Those are the two tackles that were taken in the draft, I believe. So, but anyways, no, like you just had a feeling like they were going to take a step back on offensive line, and it's going to take some time there. But like Penn State has been a disappointment. Like they're supposed to be a dominant team at the line of scrimmage, and they're lucky that they have a really good running back. But the thing with Aller is Aller has a really strong arm.
Yeah.
And we thought going into the season schematically, Penn State was going to do a lot of run because they have two very good running backs.
Very good.
And you think like I feel like their goal was Aller's got a strong arm. We want play action involved with our run game and to hit deep shots. They believe have 140-yard plus play on the season.
It's wild. So, it's wild to think about.
And Ohio State hasn't allowed an explosive play, I'm pretty sure, all season either. From what?
That's an explosive play is defined by what? Is there 40 plus?
Yeah, 40 plus play. So that's what. Hey,
wow, if that's actually real, I mean, I'm taking your word for it.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard about Joel Klatt. It's because they always play a single high safety, so they always have someone deep. They're not playing any cover zero. They're not playing anything. They always have someone back there.
Lathan Ransom.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's not Ransom playing back. He's not the one dropping back.
It's not Martinez either.
I'm pretty sure it's Styles, but
Yeah, and Sonny
yeah.
Styles is a much improved
Yeah.
defensive back, and this is what we've been talking about. This is the narrative,
Yeah,
man. This
like
is
this
improved
defense, like
defenses.
Tumalayu, best pass rusher on their team. Sawyer,
Mhm.
he's
It's
gonna
right
do.
there.
Yeah, their interior D linemen are they're playing fine. Their linebackers. I mean, I would love CJ Hicks to play, but
Dude, I don't even this is the whole that's the difference right there, man, is
well, because
that
Hicks.
separates from Michigan and Ohio State right now is
Well,
just this like what is that whole mantra about like, oh well, he's a sophomore, he's still got more to learn. Look at Hausman, dude. Hausman's a
yeah.
sophomore dominating. He dominated Nebraska. Yeah, that's Nebraska to kind of need the kid to step up. But at Michigan, dude, they have more than capable linebackers. Junior Colson and Mike Barrett are going to
Well,
go
yeah, and
in
they're
the top
so
three
deep.
rounds.
Where like Josiah Stewart would probably start like at
Right. It's
most
like
Power Fives, and then he's still getting
Michigan's
reps. So
right. Michigan's defense is constantly flooding in fresh legs, and it's like, why would you not, as Ohio State, want to, let that play? I mean, I get it. I don't think they're as deep as Michigan. I don't think anybody's as deep as Michigan. However,
especially defensively.
right. But when you have a guy like CJ Hicks, like I don't think people understand. This kid is elite. If he stays at Ohio State, he's going to be
Watch the spring tape of CJ
dude,
Hicks,
he's
and
unbelievable.
like he's he's more of an athletic linebacker, but like
And
he's
he
gonna
was an athlete listed on 24/7 Sports in
right.
high school.
Yeah, and I mean, you watch him; he's able to contain the outside run really well. I think the problem is that with how the Big Ten style football play is how well he gets those run fits on the
Mhm.
inside, and how good is he as a blitzer. But like, he's one of the best coverage linebackers, and he's able to
That's what I'm
contain the
saying.
outside.
And the Big Ten's got great tight ends too.
Yeah,
And so I don't know, man. I just don't get it. And the kid only gets better from experience.
right.
It's not like there's gonna be some
And I mean,
gaping hole with him out there. Like there really isn't.
him and Styles both reclassed too, and Styles is already playing and I believe
I know.
Hicks is just as talented as Styles.
I it would be sad as heck, man, to watch that kid go out and play in the SEC next year because they just did not utilize him. Now I know in press conferences.
Watch him and Perkins play next year together.
Yep.
And they can use Perkins as a
Gosh,
traditional edge, and then they could put Hicks back there.
hey,
Wow, maybe we're
we're
foreshadowing the
prophets.
future.
Yeah, we're prophets, man.
But no, I'm gonna take Ohio State in this game. I really like this defense, even not Hicks out there. Like I love both corners. I love Styles. I think Eichenberg's a really good running back. I like the D lineman. Like this team, and I think even if they don't have Ibuka play, I'd be surprised if at least one of the running backs don't come back. And even that, like Dallin Hayden, like he showed
Great.
I think he's always been a solid running back. I just don't think
Me
he's
too.
been utilized properly, and I didn't like chip train him out there at as well.
It's interesting to watch them.
But Burke is hurt, and I don't know if he's
Denzel?
yeah, he got hurt in that Purdue game,
Interesting.
and I don't know.
I look at this and I see that you could honestly open up holes in this defense a lot. I just don't think Aller is poised enough to come into this stadium.
I just don't think
win.
he gets enough time.
Yeah, exactly. That too. And it's like you really hope that this offensive line, that's why I said it's going to be one in the trenches. What quarterback's going to be given enough time?
I mean,
because you give McCord enough time, he's got the receivers, man. I mean, we can go down the list. Jennings,
I'll be honest. McCord's looked better every single week he's played. Like I gave him some crap on Monday, but he looks better. He's progressed a little bit more every like.
This is the test.
Yeah,
because his receivers are going to have to fight to get open. You're going to have to throw your guys open.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not going to be Marvin Harrison running down the seam.
And I mean. But I mean, he was Notre Dame's also very legit secondary, and they have very legit pass rush too. So
I don't know.
Benjamin Morrison's going to be a first round pick in the 2025.
Yes, but remember, we're talking about the most depth. In my opinion, the most deep receiving room is Ohio State because I think Ennis, Tate, and Julian Fleming start pretty much at any other school.
Yeah, and Xavier Johnson too.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So it's just. I don't know. This is the test. We're finally starting the week where we get to really see, all right, who's the Big Ten? Who's going to be competing for the Big Ten?
Right. And I mean, I don't know. Like Penn State's obviously got guys like Chop Robinson too that are going to generate pressure. Like this is going to be a fun football matchup at the end. I
think so. I just don't know in terms of scoring wise how this is going to go. Right.
I think
explosive plays.
Honestly, I think it's won by who makes the least mistakes. Because
That's
if you
interesting.
look at the game last year, it was a what 16-14 game, and then there was 4 turnovers generated by Ohio State, and they ended up winning that game. So
Yeah, Sean Clifford.
I'm just saying.
I think Aller actually played in this game last year, if I remember correctly.
I don't know. It was over midway through. And that was Tuimalei's that was Tuimalei's breakout game. So
that's right. This is the game where he scored.
Maybe we'll just see, someone gets hurt on defense, CJ Hicks comes in there and he's gonna break out and they're never gonna look back. But we'll see.
I hope not. I hope he doesn't play and then he transfers.
He'll come to Michigan State when Irvin's there. Gotta say something every episode, man. All right, let's move on to the next game. Tennessee versus Alabama. This one being played at Bryant-Denny Stadium. 2 quarterbacks that are really inconsistent.
But tons of firepower.
I'd say Tennessee's run game's a little bit better. Receiver wise, I mean, they're pretty comparable. I don't know the status. I don't know. I haven't really watched too much Tennessee lately, so I have no idea if Brew McCoy is playing or not. And then Alabama's defense is very legit. And then Tennessee's defense, I guess I did watch him play Texas A&M in the closing moments of that game, and they looked pretty good. So
I think both defenses, this is not going to be last year's game. We all know that. It's not Bryce Young and Hendon Hooker. As much as I wish, because that was one of the best college football games I've ever watched. It's not. And like you said, this is going to kind of be the same tale as the Ohio State-Penn State game. 2 defenses that I think are proven in terms of their conference. Now, Ohio State might be a little better nationally than the rest of these defenses compared to the rest of the country. But in terms of the conference, I don't know if I'd say this is the 2 best defenses because you've got to always throw Georgia in there. Georgia does have a good defense. But Alabama,
in terms of getting tested, 2 of the best defenses. Yeah. I mean, if Texas doesn't hit all those explosive, Texas wasn't really able to do too much other than just hitting those explosive plays. And do they do that again? Probably not. So.
No, I think this game comes down to the exact thing that you said the Penn State-Ohio State game comes down to is who's going to make the least mistakes. And I'm going to focus that on more specifically the quarterbacks is who's going to fumble the ball the least, who's going to, not make the stupid reads, not even necessarily interceptions. I don't think these guys have crazy interception problems, but they just make dumb decisions where they're pushing the ball downfield when they don't need to. Right. Probably should be keeping it a little more, especially Milroe. Milroe wants to win this game for his team. You got to be a little selfish, man. You got to put your shoulder down. You got to be able to take some hits. Because honestly, that's the best part of his game. That's the reason why I thought that they were going to run him as the starter week 1 is because this guy brings a versatile style of play to this offense. But they really haven't utilized it. And it's weird. I think Alabama wins, but they're just not defending this stadium as well as I thought they would. They're letting teams come in and just kind of embarrass them.
I don't know. I was definitely not. When that game last week with Arkansas, I was kind of that concerned me a little bit.
That's what I'm talking about, man. It's weird. I don't know. It's so weird seeing Bama.
I think this game is really won by who can stay ahead of the chains most. Is what I think, because when they neither of these quarterbacks can get in a 3rd and long situation, or their drive's pretty much cooked. They do not make the play.
They don't extend the play. Yeah, it's crazy to talk about with these 2 guys who might have some of the biggest arms in the country. Don't extend.
They're just not. They're not the most aware quarterbacks. But with that being said.
What was that?
Not going to play. All right, never mind then. Screw that. I'm taking Tennessee over. Wow, that was really anticlimactic. But I'm taking Tennessee over.
Upset pick number 1.
There we go. All right.
I didn't know that was coming, ladies and gentlemen. That startled the crap out of me. I'm not. What is going on? I thought we were doing that on the segment, maybe, but
there we go. Yeah. Tennessee over Bama. I really like. I think Tennessee's running game's better. I really do. I do like. I think if Joe Milton was gonna hit explosive plays and get it to the receivers down the field, it'd be this game.
No, dude. We've been saying this all year. If he's
I'm
going to
just
do it, it's
saying,
this week. If he's going to do it, it's this week.
but it's
Nick
different.
Saban's not losing this game twice, bro. He's not.
No, hype
It's still Saban behind the coach. Josh Heupel's no. It's not happening, dude.
Well,
That one happens, we can sound that alarm again.
All right.
Because, no, I'm sorry.
We'll have to just wait and see. Next, we have Duke and Florida State.
What an exciting matchup this could be. What an exciting matchup this would have been, really, if Riley Leonard never goes down, because Riley Leonard probably beats Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is now out of it, and Duke's in the probably in the top 10, and a real test for Florida State. Not that LSU wasn't a true
Henry
test.
Beelan did have 4 for 12 for 107 yards against NC State last week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but yes, this Duke defense. Okay, what's your question?
I was just gonna say, is this the best defense Florida State will play? And not saying that they make the playoff. Okay, like the playoff is
in the regular season. In the regular season schedule.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a look real quick. Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, what? Wake Forest, Pitt, Miami, Florida. And the only defense that like you could really say is like anywhere near Duke's is Clemson's. And
but I think Clemson's got.
But Duke's got legit NFL guys on this defense. Yeah. Like the defense, like
it's weird to say, but yeah.
Yeah, like they are actually like a really solid and structured defense. And yeah, very weird to say, but
yeah,
it's true. And
it's gonna be interesting to see just
like their secondary as a collective plays good. They get pressure. They stop the run. Like
that's the biggest part. You want to beat this team? You can't let these receivers run free. You can't let them get into the second level and be one-on-one. You can't let Travis get to his second read because, dude, these guys are going to be open. You got to honestly force this kid to make instinctive decisions. You got to force him to make very forced decisions, to be honest with you. You got to be pitting this kid all the time because
Travis
he's a kid that will tap out.
Well, yeah, and he's not looked the same since he has hurt his shoulder. So
that's what I'm saying. He will tap out.
Yeah.
Got to get pressure on this
kid. I don't know. Florida also looked very impressive against Syracuse. And, I mean, Syracuse is not a bad team by any means. So, I mean, they haven't played great in conference, I guess. But that's besides the point. They played both Clemson and Florida State and North Carolina. So that's kind of that's a really tough draw. But to start your conference season. But regardless, I mean, this Florida State team, very, very, very talented on the offensive side, pretty good defensively as well. Duke, even if they did have Leonard, Duke would have to hold this team to 20 or less, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think they can do that anyways. They would have to put drives together and they would have to force turnovers. And that's something that really Florida State just hasn't done all season, has really turned the ball over. Right. And I don't think they give Travis into those situations because this offensive line's pretty solid. They're not going to win any awards, but they're solid.
Yeah, they're solid. Riley Leonard, whether he's a good football player,
right?
But he is not going to be the same player if he plays in this game. He will not be the same guy we saw.
Right.
That's because he's a good football player.
From what I heard, he was very limited in practicing this week, and
I think he gives it a try.
I mean,
what do they have?
Well, I mean, I don't know because he's going to be an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, but you're also. Did you see the enthusiasm this kid plays? He loves.
He does love the game of football. So.
He loves the game of football.
He loves it more than school. If you saw that week one.
he loves Duke, man. He wants to put on for Durham.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
That's why I
is
think he
he a
comes back.
junior or senior this year?
I believe he's a junior. I
So
believe
like
Riley's got another year.
this is a kid that might take his 4th year because one, this draft class is really loaded, and two, I don't know. It depends how much Duke really retains on the defensive side. But I mean, they're gonna get if Elko stays, which how likely is that? I don't know, because a lot of
He's not going to stay, so just don't even throw that out
well,
there.
no, I'm just saying, like in general, like if a job
Yeah,
does open up,
I know.
like he would be one of the first guys considered. I at least talked about getting the job with
Talked about for sure.
all the latest success that he's had at Duke the past 2 seasons since being there. I feel like Duke, though. I feel like Elko is one of those guys, though, like that would stay. And
I agree.
like
I don't see this guy taking a job like A&M.
well,
Like,
he
if
kind
A&M's job,
of reminds me of PJ Fleck in a way that like he would just he's got loyal grounds to the school, and unless I don't know, I feel like if he feel like he could not max out that program anymore, he would leave. But I feel like he feels like, I mean, they got the resources. Like they're a very good academic school. They're very good in other athletics, and you can try it. I mean, jumpstart a football program there. So
absolutely. And Riley Leonard's doing a great job at propelling it and just getting it off the ground. And that's why I think he comes back for his 4th year. Honestly, if Elko is, I think Riley.
I feel like he's someone that also like if Riley Leonard stays, like there's going to be linemen and there's going to be receivers that are going to want to transfer here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the ACC, remember, weakens after this expansion.
Yeah,
so
I mean
it's like the only big team
have
that
two
stays.
they have two freebies that join.
Exactly. So it's like now you have an opportunity to get into that 12-man playoff because you could win your conference.
Right. And I mean, yeah, what Florida State stays, but how long do they stay for?
Clemson's in still too, right?
I think Clemson's
they
still
didn't join the Big Ten.
No, who is leaving?
Talks though that they were going to, right?
Yeah, there was. And who I don't think anyone's actually leaving the ACC, are they?
Georgia Tech's not leaving. Louisville's not leaving.
Not yet. We'll see. There's just 3 teams joining. I don't know, conference realignment. We're going to have to do a whole breakdown once the season's over on who's going where and what our thoughts are going to be and everything like that. But yeah, so we both got Florida State in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Lock it in.
All right.
No upset alarm.
And then next game, we're kind of just going through these quick. Utah, USC. Utah. Don't know if Cam Rising's ever going to play this season, if he's ever going to play a game of football ever again. But with that being said, this Utah defense is going – USC is definitely at a low, mentally, especially in that locker room and everything going on. They're definitely there's definitely –
And you got freaking your star quarterback asking NFL agents after he played his worst game of his career, he's asking for freaking steak of the team.
Yeah,
that he gets drafted to. Like, this kid's over his head. Like, buddy, you might not go first pick. Slow down.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on who the scouting department likes of the NFL and all of that. And you've been on the record multiple times saying that he should just take his 4th year, which
dude, listen, I think we saw a little bit, and I get it. That's a tough loss. Notre Dame, man, that's a rivalry.
Notre Dame's a good team.
It is, but the game he had, man.
Even though, hey, I ride and die with Louisville. That game was fluky. It wasn't fluky by Louisville's defense, but there was.
Yeah, it's not a true testament to how good Notre Dame how bad Notre Dame is.
Well, Notre Dame just their defense collapsed in that game, and I think
and then they played really well against USC.
Yeah, and I think honestly they needed to get exposed a little bit because even though that they lost to Ohio State, their defense wasn't exposed, and even that they barely beat Duke, their defense wasn't exposed. That was the first time, and I think USC it's just a miss. I mean, Zachariah Branch is at full health, but regardless, you have so much talent there. One of your best players, Marshawn Lloyd, barely touches the ball. I'm pretty sure he's averaging anywhere between 10 and 11 touches per game. That should just not. I think they rely on Caleb Williams to pull so much out of his ass that it's really tough. It's tough to succeed against good teams when you expect your quarterback to do everything for you, and he shouldn't be relied upon to do all of that. Like the best teams, like even though like they're always going to be supported by a solid run game and their defense. And USC just Caleb Williams doesn't have anything of that. So when he has to go play a big opponent, there's two sides to every story. So and like even though I think Caleb Williams is a generational talent, and yes, he's not been as good this season as he was last year. We've seen that. He's also like not getting the schematic help, nor is he getting help from the defense.
It's kind of the talk we had last week is when does this become to blame on Lincoln Riley?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And I think we're starting to see it is, yes, the defense does not help, but at the same time, man, these games should not be happening. Like this kid is that good and it's not his fault. The problem I had, and by the way, I still don't know my prediction. I'm not going to lock it in. But to get back to what I was saying, my only issue with the way Williams right now is the way he kind of handled this loss. I think he showed a little bit of immaturity. I think he's where when your conversation is now you're in the media because you want stake of the team, like you should just be talking about next week. This is a very good defense in Utah. You have to bounce back. Do you want this is a very scouts want this to happen, to be honest with you. They want to see the bad game because it's like, okay, how's this kid bounce back? How does he improve on the things? Because everyone's got film now. They're going to know everything that you need to improve on, and they're going to be looking very closely to see if you do it. So how does he not only bounce back from something like that in terms of his play, but also how does he respond in the media during the week and going to your agent saying, hey, I want partial ownership of whatever team drafts me, and that's the conversation being stirred around. It's like, dude, we can talk about that.
I mean, he's going to get talked down upon because of his performance, but when scouts go back and watch the film and everything,
there's so much other stuff.
Yeah.
When you have a defense that's deflating you,
right. And
your
I mean,
offense.
and the reason why he's never going to like you said, when you went on that rant, like the reason why he's never going to play in a big game is because of how the team's structured around him. Like they literally just rely on Williams and they don't address any other problems because they have the best quarterback or arguably the best quarterback in the country. And they think that's just all you need.
Yeah. I'll even bring this back to Michigan. You literally look people so much Michigan
man,
fans.
This Michigan
time,
over here, he's got the shirt
but
on,
it's not really, but this is just like, it's just relevant. I know this team super well, but Michigan fans love to say, I want JJ McCarthy to throw it 40 times a game, blah, blah, blah. Let him run the ship. It's like, dude, even the best quarterback in the country, arguably one of the greatest college football quarterbacks of all time, even he can't carry the team, man. This is what I like when guys put so much pressure on one player. I'll even use the reference of like Quinn. Quinn Ewers can't do it. Like they try to put it all on him, and he needs the help. Like
he gets help though.
He does. That's why he's successful. That's why he beats Alabama. That's
right.
Why he shows up.
Just like this is a team game, man. Like I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like there are three different units in football. There's offense, defense, and special teams. Like all three of those really matter. And it's not one position. Yes, it is the most important position on the field. If you have a good quarterback, most likely your team's going to be successful. Just look at Noah Fafita. Okay. Like the difference between him and Jaden DeLora is crazy. Sorry. I love watching.
I love that kid too. Yeah. So let's keep shouting him out.
Yeah.
But dude, look at these Georgia teams. Look at the freaking LSU teams, man. It's like they complement each other. Every aspect of the team needs.
Are you saying Jade Daniels not good?
No, what?
You said LSU.
I'm talking like successful college football teams. Okay. No, first of all, let's pause. Jaden Daniels is.
I was gonna say, are you just this year? Yeah, are you gonna say, dude? But that kid, if unless Penix is probably like on pace to win it, but like Daniels is someone to really consider for New York.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, I don't know if we'll talk about LSU at all in this episode, but I did see this like quick little comparison of him and Joe Burrow the year he won the Heisman through the first 7 games of that season. And I mean, obviously, Joe's got like 6 or 7 more touchdown passes, maybe a couple
Yeah, but
more
Joe's
yards.
also
But it's
like
around, and look at Joe's receivers compared to Jaden's receivers. Yes, Jaden has really good receivers, but he doesn't have first round draft picks, arguably maybe one of the best receivers in NFL history.
And like as receiver prospects, like both those guys were like if Jamar Chase played in that COVID year, like I mean, I think he was he the first receiver drafted in that draft anyways?
Yep.
Yeah.
And he didn't even play.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Justin Jefferson arguably had one of the greatest college football seasons of all time.
And now like around the NFL, he's considered to be around the best receiver.
Yeah. I'll make the argument for him. He's the best receiver in the NFL. Behind Amon-Ra, actually.
Yeah. I was going to. Every player drafted at.
Shut up. All right. But I'm gonna say USC bounces back, takes this game.
You locking it as an upset pick?
Yeah. Lock it in.
All right.
Sound it.
I'm trying, man.
Come on.
This is not working today,
Come
man.
On. Wow.
Yeah,
all right, never mind. Utah wins. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, hold on. There we go.
There we go.
Right.
USC takes the dub over Utah, comes back. Caleb Williams shows a little bit of maturity. Caleb Williams gets back to the Heisman contention, maybe puts himself back in the conversation to get New York.
All right. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. Maybe we see Cam Rising play football.
Dude.
With that all being said,
here for it.
I'm taking Utah. I think that this defense is just going to.
Does Caleb Williams have another bad game? Or is
I don't know.
Simply USC's defense can't hang.
Well, I think that they're not going to utilize their run game and they can't block to begin with. And if there's anything Utah can do, they can make a quarterback's lives a nightmare. So, and the only team they got beaten by was Oregon State, which first of all, that was at home. And like DJ arguably has one of the best running games in the. I mean, he played fine that game, but he has 2 running backs that are really good, and he's got one of the best offensive lines too.
Possible dark horse Joe Moore Award offensive winning offense.
Yeah, and I mean they got a really good their defense is very comparable to Utah too. So like
yes, dude, I've been talking. I talked about that team a lot in the beginning of the year. Like this is a dark horse Pac-12 team.
They still can make a Pac-12 championship and still technically like can't be out of the consideration for a college football playoff spot yet.
That's crazy.
I mean, I'm just saying.
No, dude. Nobody's out of it. I mean, there are obviously teams that are, but like the Texases, the freaking those schools aren't out yet.
Yeah, and I
mean, Alabama's not out.
Yeah, but they're not winning an SEC championship.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's get to. Oh, you're gonna hear the air horn twice more. Hopefully, I think I got it down now.
RIP earbud users.
Robby, since you already gave one upset pick lately, just give your other one.
I'm gonna go TCU over Kansas State. That's sick. I love that. Okay, we're good. Yeah, I'm gonna go TCU over Kansas State. I'm a fan of this Kansas State team. I really am. But Sonny Dykes, man, you gotta have a big win. And this is obviously not a ranked win, but for a guy that actually, I'm not going to make that joke yet. I almost said, for the guy that exposed the sign-stealing Michigan Wolverines, this is his week. No, I'm not going to say that. You can forget I said that.
It's under investigation, so you might be right. You might not be wrong. But
we're going to get into that.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
But yeah, that's my Pac-12 pick, or my Big 12 pick. I think the explosiveness of the TCU run offense gets the job done. I believe this game is in.
And like BYU, like me and him discussed about this, and like we were talking about it. BYU has been a relatively successful team offensively and have they've competed with a lot of teams. Watched their game against Kansas, a team that's well, I guess maybe not right now with Jalen Daniels out, but like BYU's competed. They competed with Arkansas too. Like they've been a team, and TCU just absolutely wiped the floor with them, and that's something like we like. Yes, TCU is not going to be considered for anything other than maybe like the Chipotle Chipper Bowl bowl game. Dude, that'd actually be sweet. The Chipper Bowl, the Chipotle Chipper Bowl, that'd actually be sweet.
I love that.
But
I love that.
But no, yeah, this me and him were talking about this. I really do like the run attack from TCU as well. I think defensively they've been relatively solid. And they've been playing.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot better since that terrible showing on national television against Prime. Yeah. So, Chandler Morris, there's not a whole lot to say. I don't think his stats are terrible
because he's not playing.
Yeah, but
he's they got the big Hoover down there, Josh Hoover.
Shout out Hoover. When did Hoover take over?
Last game against.
Okay, then that's why I've been following this team because I did want to see.
Oh, dude, Amani Bailey is one of the best running backs in the country, in my opinion.
Dude, that kid has got almost 800 yards rushing.
Yeah, he seriously
And I feel
he's just Kendrick Miller 2.0. When I look at him, I'm that's baby. That's just another Kendrick Miller.
Yeah, I actually, as much as I don't like to say that because I'm not a fan of Kendrick, is arguably is the reason why. Him and Quentin Johnson, but you're not wrong. Imani Bailey is so good, and the fact that they have Trey Sanders behind him, and I feel so bad for that.
He's a very good.
He went to TCU to be the feature back, and he was not the feature back at Alabama like he thought he was going to be too. And that kid runs hard. The kid's played well. He's a
very good red zone back. Yeah, he's very good red zone back. You got any more thoughts to finish?
I was just going to say, what do you think, Imani Bailey, Doak Walker Award? In the finalists as a finalist.
Yeah, he'd be for sure a finalist, but they're definitely going to give it to a guy like Corum or Jawar Jordan or someone that's on a bigger team. Even though Amani,
I hope he's just a finalist.
Yeah, no, for sure. When me and Robby break down all the awards, we're gonna go through. We're gonna have a big awards breakdown. We're gonna give. Yeah. So, all right, my upset pick. Staying in the Big 12, Oklahoma State over West Virginia.
Oh, man. I love this pick because I think Alan Bowman's a dog.
Well, dude, this Oklahoma State team, they've been playing really good recently. Go play both Kansases, take care of business against two relatively good football team. West Virginia, they have a long break, but they also lost their game to Houston, which should they have? Should they have really?
No.
I don't know. That's something that it really concerns me. I really do like West Virginia too. Don't get me wrong. I really like CJ Donaldson. I think Green's been solid. He's obviously better than what JT Daniels was there last year. But I really do like Alan Bowman. Gordon's been playing really good. He's a kid that could finish as a Doak Walker finalist too.
Yes.
Thank
you for throwing that in. It's true.
Don't count him out. He's averaging 6.1 yards per carry, man. Yeah. He's Ollie Gordon. That's the name that you like. A
Big
lot
12 kind of is really stacked with great.
Yeah, the Big 12 is not there's not the talent at the top that there was last year. There's not Texas. There's not TCU, Kansas State. Who else? Kansas was. I guess they were that good. Oklahoma State was very good at the beginning of the year.
Spencer Sanders.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot more high end talent, but this year there's more talent across the board in the middle. There's more moderate, and everything's a lot closer. The worst team, the Big 12, is what? Probably, God, I don't even know.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, and there's still
they're a new team,
right? Yeah, but I'm just saying. How am I trying to say this? I'm trying to pull something up here.
Sorry,
yeah, it's It's Cincinnati, but I mean, like, there's them, UCF, Baylor, and Houston, and like all those teams, like they can give it teams at the top, like
A
or
run for their
teams,
money,
yeah,
absolutely.
like the third best team's probably Iowa State or Oklahoma State, and they can get money.
Iowa State's played great.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, like there's a lot, like there's no like powerhouse. There's like, I mean, obviously there's Texas and Oklahoma, but after that, it's all like all those teams from 3 to, well, I
Yeah.
guess it wouldn't be 12, it'd be what,
14. Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. It's close. Every team, it's
and that's
a
how it's
chess
gonna.
match in every
Yeah,
single game because these teams are actually they have really good talent on the field and they match up very well. I think that's the best way to describe the Big 12.
yeah.
Is they all match up very well against each other. You throw these teams out in other conferences, maybe the SEC they don't, have as much of a problem with as they would with the Pac-12, but amongst themselves, amongst the Big 12, they do match up very well.
All right, let's get into the news-related side of this. I bet you're
Dude, I
very
have so much to say.
all right, because I personally,
I literally have a whole PSA.
yeah, Robby, let's get your thoughts on this.
Listen, to all Michigan State fans, to all Ohio State fans, to all Penn State fans, and any other team that might have to run into this team in the playoff, in the Big Ten championship, I am so sorry that whoever ratted out and tries to create these allegations against Michigan, because every time this happens, it pisses the hell out of this team. You are going to have a bunch of individuals who are going to now play with a chip on a shoulder that they shouldn't have to even play on with the first place. You're going to see Harbaugh. This is a guy that does not like to be put in bad light if he really doesn't need to be. And when I say need to be, if he's not actually doing something wrong. Now, Harbaugh isn't a perfect individual, but he's
no
a man.
one is.
No, exactly. And he's always said that. Everyone's cheating. Everyone does it. Who's going to get caught? Yeah, I don't know. And he's one of the guys that speaks a lot of truth in the media. And, that's not always the conformed way to do things. A lot of people just be hush hush and, let's just all do our thing and nobody talks about it. Yeah, exactly. And so Harbaugh's a guy that's not going to come out and lie either, though. He's not going to be. He's fully leading with the right example, and that's why I believe that this allegations are false in some ways, and we're going to get into all of this, the technicality of it. But I'm just going to say, I am so sorry to everyone else: Maryland, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State, Purdue. This team's going to beat your ass. They're going to beat your ass because they are pissed. And this is just the wrong time, man. They're going to walk to Spartan Stadium on Saturday, dude. McCarthy's going to be playing no matter what. Why?
Man,
who would have thought?
Who thought the 2 Michigan schools were going to be under investigation during the season this year?
It's so weird too.
I'm sorry, that's a terrible time, Joe.
It's bad. But hey, it's whatever. It's whatever.
It's okay. If Michigan State hires Urban Meyer, you're going to be under a lot more investigation too. So.
Oh my gosh, jeez. But to give my just first initial thought and reaction to this, it's like, please tell me, because when I say reaction, it's not to the news. It's to the way everyone took it, because if you actually read just how it's worded, it literally just saying they're going into an investigation to see if this is true. Nobody's coming out and saying that there's anything true. It's all speculation. It's all, okay, we're going to dive into this and see where it's going.
And
everyone
if there was
is taking it that they're cheaters. We're talking about these guys like they're the Houston Astros. Tell me you don't know football without telling me you don't know football saying that Michigan beats Ohio State because they're sign stealing.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's like, first of all, if there was any sign stealing, like there would obviously, if there was a problem with the NCAA with it, there'd be disciplinary action too that comes along with this. When this story comes out right away, like there's a difference. Like,
first of all, sign stealing is legal.
Yeah,
sign stealing is literally legal. It's part of the game. If you guys understand,
you're not doing your job right if you're not doing that. Like, I'm sorry to break it to you.
Yeah, and this isn't even, guys. we're talking about this. Like I said, I'm going to bring back the reference of the Houston Astros. What the Houston Astros did is absolutely blatant, just pure. You're a dirtbag human being for thinking of doing that and to tarnish the game and tarnish just your own reputation. Whatever. You guys are stupid. But with this is part of the game, first of all, and this isn't even a rule that if you break this violation, there's no punishment. It's not even punishable. It's just basically like, hey, you did this. You can't do that. There's no rule that says, hey, requires a 5-game suspension. Like, this is not a big deal because, once again, this goes back to the whole tell me you don't know football without telling me you don't know football. Do you know how many dummy signs are thrown out on that gosh darn sign? You know how many times they hold that thing up and it doesn't even mean anything? And second of all, do you understand the style of play Michigan plays with? Like, this isn't a style of play that's like, oh, we're going to run hurry up because, we saw that sign, so therefore we know everything that's coming. It just doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I mean, personally, when I saw this, I literally said it to Robby. I'm like, this is like actually like just like they're just trying to find something at this point. So
Harbaugh
and all this stuff, okay, and like all this does is just light up a fire under Michigan.
That's what I'm saying.
And if you want to beat Michigan, you want them to sleepwalk into you. You don't want them to be fired up. Like
you don't want them to have something external firing them up besides the fact that James Franklin is saying play a better schedule. Shut your mouth, first of all. But second of all,
like what's the best team you've played?
Yeah,
Illinois or West Virginia.
Yeah,
like
talk to me after.
I guess West Virginia's solid, but
but
I mean they're going to play Ohio State this weekend. And we discussed that earlier.
Talk to me when you beat them in the shoe. Talk to me when you beat them by 3 times.
And if they do, then we got a lot of answers from Penn State.
We got a lot of answers, and we got a lot of fun. We got a fun football game in Beaver Stadium to talk about. But back to the conversation of this. Where was I going with this? Harbaugh is, and I hear this talked about a lot on 97.1 The Ticket, actually. But the Ryan Days of the world, the Myers of the world, Kirby Smarts, Nick Sabans. They got a lot of friends in the coaching industry, especially guys like Nick Saban. Everyone wants to coach with him, and everyone goes on after him and just does super well in their coaching careers. Look at guys like O'Brien and Sarkisian and all those guys. Jim Harbaugh is hated in the coaching community. He just is. He doesn't have a lot of friends in it. Besides his staff, not really. And that's just because of the personality that he kind of walks around with and the mantra. He just doesn't do things the same way as everyone else does. So everyone's like, why is Michigan always targeted? It's because of Harbaugh. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because especially Harbaugh, if you look at this from an outside point of view, even if he's sign stealing in the illegal way, which means that you are sending guys out in person and you're getting film that way instead of taking from the film and seeing signs, because that is also very possible. This reminds me of Belichick. He is willing to do whatever it takes to win. That's competitive nature. That's the type of coach you want, who wants to win that bad. This isn't illegal, guys. This is, once again, I will reiterate that enough. This is not an illegal action to steal signs. It's not giving you that much of an advantage, but it's the intelligence, the amount of attention to detail these guys are going to win these football games, man. It shows how much time they're spending in the film room. This is a coach who wants to win more than anything. He's sick and tired of getting beat around by Urban Meyer and Mark D'Antonio. And now he's flipping the narrative in the entire culture of Michigan. That's what this is. That's what it is more than anything. And I think I'm not defending, doing illegal things against the NCAA's rules, but I'm just saying calm the heck down, because if they win the national championship, it's not because they freaking steal signs.
And
that is not why they won against Ohio State.
Now that everyone kind of knows that they're sign stealing, like they're gonna come up with different signals.
Exactly. And know it. If apparently Greg Schiano knew the whole time, right? That's what he said in his halftime interview. There's something going on. Change your signs, dude. Like if that's the whole reason why they're winning, people change signs all the freaking time. Every year, dude, that stuff is getting changed because everyone's stealing signs. Everyone.
It's just like
the transfer portal, dude. A kid goes over. You think he's not going to remember the signs and tell his coach if they're running the same stuff?
Yeah, and like that's the thing. At the end of the day, like it's football. You're playing for 60 minutes, unless like you literally are like listening in on the coach's headset, like to the plays that they're running. That's a little bit different. It's
Right.
literally a sign, and like low key, like if you're playing Michigan, you gotta play. So you should play a little bit of mind games, like you kind of like you could almost use this information to your advantage, almost
Exactly.
if it's really true. Like it's just really dumb. Like
You want to beat Michigan, man? You got to beat them right here, and it's very hard team to crack. But you crack these guys, you're screwed.
I
I
mean,
should say they're screwed.
watch how you like what they did. They well, I mean, yes, they made mistakes against TCU and they were never able to recover from it. That's why they
Mhm.
lost.
Exactly.
They
Everyone's like, oh well, now we understand it because the storyline is that they were sending guys out to possible college football playoff opponents last year and other teams in the Big Ten, and it's like, oh well, TCU wasn't supposed to be there, so of course they didn't send them out and they lost. How about your quarterback those 3 picks, two pick sixes? How about that? Does that
yeah.
help? Like, can we get back to real like reality, people?
Yeah,
Like,
like seriously, like
this is
this story is just blown way out of proportion, and
it's
honestly, it doesn't need to be
no.
publicly journalized at all. Like like
And especially now, if they win the
it's
national championship, the news is out, everybody. You think if they're actually stealing the signs and it's affecting them that much in the terms if they win, everyone knows now that's why they.
it's not it's because baseball is more of a mental game than a physical game. Like,
Yes, yes,
and football, like
it's
it's
physical, man.
at this, especially at higher levels, it's just a physical game,
Yep.
and
Even
obviously there's mental in it
undisciplined
too.
teams will win
Yeah,
the game
yeah.
because
So
physicality does ultimately dominate.
at the end of the day, if your best 11 plays better than the other 11, you'll win.
Amen, brother.
Like, yeah,
I hate when stuff comes out like this, dude, because it just ruins so much. It's just we're just getting irrational and we're just showing that we're not very educated fans. And I'm serious, man. If this was any
well,
other
it's
team,
ESPN's fault and all these big publication services
yes,
pushing it out in this way. Like, it's
yes.
that really of a bad thing?
Well,
And because a lot of people like when a lot of people get a lot of media to their phone, like I got the notification and I'm like, oh, and then I look into it. I'm like, okay, this is just stupid. Like
right,
a
you
lot of those people,
read the article, not Twitter.
yeah, the art, like actually read the details of everything and understand that like not that big of a deal. Like
It's really not.
I like everyone should have known this. Like there's a reason why a lot of those people put up the freaking black screens while like they're on the sideline. Like if you watch that USF Alabama game, that's exactly what they
It's a
did.
perfect example. It's a
Because
perfect example. And I'm truly saying this as like I would defend any team on this stuff. It's why guys like JJ Watt came out. It's why guys like RG3 came out and publicly said, "So you can't scout?" Like I'm confused because seriously, guys,
right, you're
like
just using everything to your advantage.
it's seriously a whiny coach. And I'm not even going to get into who I think it is because obviously my guess is just as good as yours, but we know. We know who probably did this.
I'm thinking of two guys, and
I
it's two of the best opponents that they play on their schedule. Not going to name names, but
no names. No names, but we will see now because now nobody can. Now there is no sign stealing. Apparently, everyone's signs are
maybe it's
changed.
Trent Dilfer at UAB.
Probably, yeah. That's actually a really good point. It's actually what I was thinking of. Trent, you whiny bitch.
Hey, we love no hate to Trent Dilfer.
Love Trent Dilfer. Actually, want to see the guy coach at a high level because I think his attitude towards the game is unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts around the college football landscape that you have to get to?
You know, this is kind of a weird week. This is usually rivalry week for a lot of schools, and usually these Big Ten West matchups are actually kind of good and intriguing.
Iowa, Minnesota should be a fun,
It should be a
low
fun
scoring game.
little 14-6
Shout out to
ball
James
game.
Madison for going 7-0, 20-9 victory over Marshall, who's a very decent team.
Shout out you, James Madison. You're going to be in a bowl game and you're going to dominate.
I feel like this could be one of those, like, I think it was week 2 that was a trap week.
For who?
Forever, like across the
country.
Yeah.
I think
I feel like I feel like you're gonna see like maybe 1 or 2 upsets.
Week 3.
Week 3.
Week 4 that Alabama
But,
played Texas and Notre Dame played
okay.
Whatever they played.
Yeah.
I forget.
Yeah. So I expect this to be like I don't know. I think there's maybe some teams underperform. I feel like this is where, you know, I was talking to you before. I like some of these group of 5 matchups.
Yeah. Highlight those, please. Let's get into
Georgia, Louisiana should be a really good game.
Yes.
Georgia State, Louisiana should be a really good game. Gonna be a fun one. Over under 62.5. So it's gonna be a little bit more of a high scoring affair. I think Clemson, Miami, like those are 2 teams that are trying to, I guess, improve their public football image. And especially with Miami dropping their last 2 games, Clemson, like,
and both those teams possess the ability to play.
And they're both good teams. Like,
yeah, that's what I was just saying.
Yeah,
they both possess the ability to play great football. Like that is
me and Robby are gonna both.
Freaking Tyler Van Dyke are 2 great quarterbacks.
Yeah,
like.
me and Robby are both gonna be at Michigan State on Saturday. So we'll discuss our experiences there. UNLV Colorado State's going to be another good game. UNLV's been a sneaky good Mountain West team. Only lost to that Michigan team that everyone loves so near and dear to their heart. Texas Tech, BYU. I feel like that game's going to be. I don't know the stats.
This game was a game we almost picked for an upset.
Yeah. I really do like this BYU team. They've competed all year. I watched their game against Kansas. I watched their other game against Arkansas. Like that team's fun to watch.
Super fun.
I thought Auburn can maybe sneak one on Ole Miss. We'll see what happens there.
I don't know, man. I think you're just hating on Ole Miss. I still love this team. I love this team.
Kind of just depends how good Auburn plays, in my opinion.
I think it depends on how good Keyshawn Judkins plays. We've seen when that kid's on, the team's at their highest potential.
Yeah.
But that's if and when.
Toledo and Miami, Ohio, Gabbert versus Daquan Finn. If you like MAC football, man.
Daquan Finn. You know, I'm not saying we're not big time, man, but neither is MAC football. I'd love to get a guy like Daquan Finn, little athlete, like just get a special guest and have it be an athlete like Daquan Finn on the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Sick, dude. Like he is got a little bit of a national spotlight, but I feel like he's not too big to, like push away just something like this. And honestly, we talk about the guy a decent amount. Like we talk about these group of 5 teams probably more than a lot of podcasts do too. So it's like, come on, man. This would help us. It'd help you. You can see a personal side to you. Not necessarily talk about all football. Just hear about the life of, a guy who, could go as a dark horse quarterback that we could see in the NFL.
Yeah.
Or just a guy who's a MAC legend.
Yeah. I mean, Daquan Finn, I think he is one of the most entertaining. He is the most entertaining group of 5 quarterback other than maybe Larry or on Air Force.
Yeah.
But he's hurt. So,
right. So if anyone's listening and has a close contact with Daquan Finn, please
send him our way.
Just
we're definitely gonna clip this and be putting it everywhere. So
absolutely.
But yeah, any other thoughts for you?
I like your take on the trap week. I think this is a week we're about.
Not necessarily a trap week, just like.
But think about it. November's the biggest month for college football. It's the month that everybody's waiting for, and it's where everyone starts to separate themselves and has got to prove themselves on big stages. And we're 2 weeks from that, and I think this is a test to see: are you looking ahead? Because there's not great matchups. Yes, Ohio State, Penn State play. That's a Big Ten matchup for both those schools. But for teams like, the Texas, it's like, okay, we got to finish November off. But, hey, you got to get through October first before you even think about November, right? Oklahoma, the riding
Donovan Smith's a really good quarterback, too, for Houston. So
there's interesting things that could play out that we're not actually foreseeing right now.
Shout out
But
Alvin
that's college
Kamara
football.
for carrying my fantasy team, by
I
the
thought
way.
you were going to say Alvin Kamara, like, engaged with one of our posts. I'm like,
No,
dog, what?
No, he's playing right now, but he's got 21 points for me in fantasy. So
Shout out Alvin Kamara.
he's got 10.
I'm
I'm
not
in
shouting
a
at the
PPR
NFL.
league, and he's got 10 receptions right now, so for 75 yards. And
There you go.
yeah.
The only time we'll reference the NFL if we're not talking about the Lions.
Only when,
because we don't talk about the NFL.
NFL is not. I don't know.
It's not college football. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to, show my bias, but it's not college football.
Yeah.
This league is something, and it's a different breed of just, like you said, we're talking about right now that there's a chance that teams like Houston could upset like Texas. Like, yes, that opportunity is there in the NFL, but in college football, it's like, it doesn't even shock you.
Yeah.
Because that's the nature of this game. That's the nature of this sport. It's why it's the best sport in the entire world.
All right. Thank you for listening to the Engage podcast. If you made it this far, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Look at our social media pages on X and Instagram and TikTok. And if you want to follow me and Robby separately, of course, you can always do that as well. Thank you for listening to the show, and we will see you on sometime next week.